So, you've got a new year out in front of you, 2025. This one's going to be different, right? Massive, transformative change. Get fit, lose weight, make $1 million. It doesn't matter. Let me level with you. It ain't going to happen unless you experience a vision collision. Sounds destructive. Sounds violent. Actually, a vision collision is about the furthest thing from an accident. Your vision collisions will be some of the most deliberate and joyful experiences of your life. This is the most important video I've ever made. Let's get into how goals get done. Back in 2008, I decided to run a marathon. I was 42 years old and had never run further than 5K. I signed up for a race about 5 months in advance. I imagined how awesome it would be approaching the finish line, spotting my family in the crowd and hearing their encouraging cheers. Then later, basking in the glory. Completely exhausted both physically and mentally. Pleasant pain in every muscle. I did it. I can feel the texture of that finisher's medal in my hand. I see the look on my kids' faces realizing that if their dad can do something like this, imagine what they can do. I think about how good that first meal will smell and taste as we go out to celebrate afterward. It's a great day. It's the optimal future state of this first-time marathoner. I could feel it. I could taste it 5 months in advance. So, back to the day I signed up. Now what? I can only run 3 miles. So I check out books at the library on marathon training. I read articles online and back issues of Runner's World magazine. I develop a 20-week training program following the experts' guidance for ramping up miles, then tapering down in the last week to be fully recovered for the race. I create a spreadsheet showing the exact number of miles I need to run each specific date, with the longest 20-mile runs scheduled on the last 2 Saturdays before race day. I hold my vision of the finish and aftermath in my mind with each run, motivating me. As the miles add up, my confidence grows alongside my fitness. And I know there is nothing, in my mind at least, that can stand in my way. So, what was the result? Things pretty much happened the way I imagined them. I finished the race. I felt the feels. I heard the cheers, hefted the medal, tasted the food. I checked marathon off my bucket list. Now you might be thinking, good for you, Mike. But I have bigger dreams than just running a dumb race. I'm 52, 62, or this many years old, and I need a system that will move me from the sad place I'm in today to my optimal future state. How do I do this? I call it the vision collision because if you do it right, where you are now and where you want to be will move toward each other until they become one. It starts with a very deliberate crafting of this optimal future state, which I'll call the OFS from now on. This is more than a visualization, because if it's going to have power, it's going to invoke all 5 senses and the strongest of emotions. I don't like to use the word dream because although dreams can be quite vivid, I don't like to confuse this process with the rapid eye movement part of sleep that is usually just a random and passive subconscious firing of neurons. Your optimal future state is so much more than random and passive. You'll notice that when I imagine my marathon race day that I experience that moment in advance with all 5 senses. I felt gratitude for the experience, even though the work and the experience itself was still out in the future. There's an extra step you need to take for bigger, more challenging goals. Goals that might take several years to achieve, and the pathway to it may not be so clear. You need to take time to sit down and write it out. Describe in detail a future day on which you've accomplished what you want and are enjoying the fruits not only of what you've done, but of who you've become. Start with a date 3 to 10 years away from today. Why so long? Bill Gates once said, most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. We're talking about bigger things than losing 10 pounds here. We're talking about your life's work, something big enough that it scares you and excites you equally. God wouldn't have gifted you with imagination if you weren't intended to use it for the exact purpose now planted in your heart. So start with the place. It's a place you could be only if you've achieved your vision. It could be the home you intend to be living in at that time, or a place you've always felt to be out of reach. You need to write down all the details of what this place looks like. Where are you? Sitting on the deck of an oceanfront home you intend to live in? Catching your breath at the summit of a 15,000-foot peak? Walking along the beach in Bora Bora? Imagine what you see and feel all around you. Where is the sun? Do you feel it on your skin? What are you wearing? What is moving in the breeze? What kind of furniture, plants, and animals are around you? Then layer in the sounds. Is that a steel drum band playing down the shoreline? Waves crashing? The laughter of happy children or grandchildren? Busy bird song in the trees all around? How about the smells? What's cooking? Can you detect autumn leaves, ocean spray, maybe pine needles in the air? Is there something there for you to taste? Write it in, because it will make a difference. A bowl of grapes on the table next to you. Take one, pop it in your mouth. Finally, who are you with? Spouse, children, grandchildren, friends, all of the above? Remember, you are imagining yourself as completely successful at your aspirations and in perfect health. How do others look at you, behave toward you? Experience the conversations. Feel your generosity and love toward those around you. And imagine things you've been able to offer them due to your increased wealth, wisdom, and good health. Now, you may struggle with descriptive writing. Some people claim that they don't have a very good imagination. But as human beings, we're all capable of looking forward. We're certainly expert at imagining the worst case scenario, so just flip that around and imagine the best things that can happen to you. Your OFS document should not be about certain amounts of money or the specific milestones of your goals. This part of the process is about lifestyle, feelings, sensations, and relationships, and exactly where you'd like to be with those things as a result of goal attainment and wealth creation. The details will come later. Now, if you're hung up on a particular sum of money, for example, it might be helpful to use the why drill down. Here's an example. I want $10 million. Why? Because I like money. Why? Because my best memory is of when our rich uncle took all of his nieces and nephews on a trip to Europe. Why? Because for once we didn't have to worry about how much everything cost. Ding, ding, ding. You've gotten down to the root of why you desire so much money, and that will make it easier for you to work with your milestones. The next step is to bring in a very powerful sense of gratitude and write about it. Think back from your target date to today and take in all that you will have accomplished. Realize that none of it would have happened if you had not taken action to complete certain tasks every day and finish certain projects by their scheduled deadlines. Connect the dots in your mind and in your writing to see how daily, purposeful action and stripping out distraction and unnecessary entertainment from your life was the only path to where you are now in your imagination. Humbly thank the greater power you respect or worship for extending your life and health so that you could do these things. Acknowledge the blessing and make it clear that you are open to even more. Think of the people around you who assisted in resolving the dependencies that you could only use influence and persuasion for, but could not control. Mentally thank the following groups of people: Those who loved you unconditionally through good and bad times, your family and friends. Those who helped and guided you, mentors and coaches. Those who worked with you and added value, your partners and employees. And those who compensated you in exchange for value, including your clients and your customers. Your OFS vision document is a collage of feelings starting at the sensory level, then moving up to the emotional level. You need the sensory feelings to get you to the mental place you've built where you can experience the emotions. By doing this exercise, you are in effect laying the track between now and then in your mind. The final step in your writing is to acknowledge the dependencies and obstacles you will face as you work toward this special day in the future. It's very important to be positive and forward-thinking in this section. Don't focus on what you lack or use phrases like, I don't have, or I'm not, or I can't, as these will break the track between today and your OFS. Instead, write things like, I am developing the skill of, and I will bring increasingly greater value to. The importance of this section is to bring contrast to your OFS vision. If you simply convince your subconscious mind that you've already achieved your goals, it could undermine your motivation. You need to balance these feelings with realistic expectations for adversity, challenge, and victory. When you win, you're beating something. I'm not talking about competition or comparison, but victory over prior versions of yourself. You may not be the person living that perfect day or have the skills yet to get there, but that's what your imagination is for. Write it all out. Your OFS is a living document. That means everything in it is editable. If your imagination leads you to new sensory inputs or stronger emotions, rewrite those sections. Even the target date. If you're experiencing better than expected progress and momentum, by all means move it up a few months. Okay, so now you've written your optimal future state document. This is the vision. Now what do you do with it? Read it. Morning and night. Every day. Experience it. If you do this right, and if you do this consistently, and you're fully getting into the state, you'll close your eyes and you'll taste the food. You'll feel the breeze. You'll smell the pine needles. When you get to the gratitude, your heart will swell and you'll realize how far you've come. If a tear rolls down your cheek and you need to blow your nose when you're done, you'll know you're doing this right. But what next? You've got your vision, but how do you get from there to here? The next step is to outline your milestones, put numbers on the required projects, and plan your daily tasks. Let's take the example of my YouTube channel. I've envisioned an optimal future state with a date nearly 3 years out where, among other things, more than 10,000 late bloomers are subscribed to this channel, and I'll have a catalog of 150 videos at least. 5,000 people will be signed up for my email newsletter. Now, there are many obstacles and dependencies, but in my imagination, this future is crystal clear, and I can feel the gratitude of it having happened. It's a great day, and I've experienced it coming to pass. Now, if I want to produce a video every week, that's going to be 13 videos in a quarter or 52 videos in a year. I can have milestones for a total catalog. For example, it would be 150 videos in 3 years. 1,000 subscribers, 5,000 subscribers. All of these are milestones that contribute toward my optimal future state. Each completed video is a project done. Once released, it's a living thing that is now out in the world and can command attention of others based on impressions made by the algorithm of the platform. As you accumulate more completed projects, you have a growing catalog of completed work to attract attention and thus income. Supernatural suspense author Dean Koontz has published over 100 novels. These books have sold over 500 million copies. Koontz hasn't needed to write anything for 20 years, but at the age of 79, he's still cranking out 2 books a year because he loves his work. His extensive catalog ensures that his older books continue to be republished in new editions for new generations of readers or those who just haven't found him yet. Many of them sell more copies now than they did 20 years ago when they were first published. I can't think of a better example of the importance of relentless catalog building and practice making perfect. So what are my tasks? Continuing with my YouTube example, each video requires 5 different tasks, each with its associated skills to be developed with practice. I need to come up with the ideas that will require focus and imagination. Researching will require organization, patience, and determination. Writing the script. Recording requires me to become a better speaker and to gain more technical skills. The editing and uploading will also be technical and will require some imagination to add the right elements. To document my progress, I could use a planner and progress tracker such as this one to keep me on task. Now I hope you can see what you're doing here. You've created 2 parallel versions of reality, one future state, one current state. Both are true. It's important that you accept that at the conscious level. If you have anchored your OFS in your senses and powerful emotions like love, generosity, and gratitude, your subconscious mind has already accepted it as reality. It doesn't care what the calendar says. Your vision is moving toward you with momentum powered by the increased skill you develop by reviewing that experience and vision every day, twice a day. Make no mistake, improving your skills with this visualization and sensory imagination is critical to your success. You are extremely likely to quit and go chase the next shiny thing if you're not sold on this. The freight train of your OFS should be bearing down on you at high speed. Meanwhile, in each current day, the calendar is a real thing. You are completing the tasks, sharing your projects, building your catalog, and celebrating your milestones. You enjoy all of it, including the obstacles, because you know where you're headed. This provides additional proof to your subconscious mind that you are who you say you are. Simultaneously, your developing skills are persuading your conscious mind that you are the real deal. Both big old locomotives are on the same track, headed toward the same date at the same speed. You see what's happening here? You see what's inevitable as long as you persist. The vision collision can't be stopped. Your current state, which has been changing incrementally every day, will merge with your future state, which you have been living in your imagination for as long as years. The 2 realities become indistinguishable. Your subconscious mind is not surprised by this because it was already there. Your conscious mind has eliminated imposter syndrome because you've doubled down and layered on the proof that you are legit. This is the vision collision. Ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake, this is the real law of attraction and how genuine manifestation is actually done. There are no shortcuts. There's no magic. And no one can argue that it's fake or doesn't work because there's only one thing that can invalidate it: quitting. Don't quit. It's not a suggestion. Now we need to talk a little more about dependencies because this is where things can get a little scary. As the introvert mantra goes, if it weren't for people, I'd be killing it. I don't need anyone's help or permission to create a YouTube video, for example. I could build a computer by myself if that were my thing, or compose a symphony without talking to another human being about it. In fact, I could do it all myself, and all I have to do is just keep doing the tasks and hitting the milestones, and I'll be eating steak and lobster one day, right? Wrong. First of all, if no one's watching my videos after making 1,000 of them, I won't be able to afford McDonald's, let alone Ruth's Chris. If I've created that big of a catalog and no one is paying any attention, all I've done is provide social proof that I don't give a tidy pile of rat poop what anyone thinks, and I'm making no effort to resonate or create value for anyone. I can whimper about being an underappreciated, starving artist, but another word for that is idiot. Let's be very clear. There are 2 things you need from other people in order to effect a vision collision. Attention and compensation. Too many people, when they don't receive these immediately, simply quit. The vision of your OFS insulates you against this. Why is the success of my YouTube channel dependent on other people? Because I can't force anyone to watch or subscribe to my work. It is dependent upon the content being good. My videos and writings can convey all kinds of influence and persuasion, but I don't control anyone. There will be times when I just don't do the right things because I don't have the knowledge or experience and I don't reach people. And it'll happen to you too. Rather than think of these times as failures, let's call them iterative prompts. They're just invitations to revise and repeat until you find what works. You really can't make anyone pay attention to you or give you money. Your success depends on responses to those iterative prompts, on your receptivity to feedback, on your consistency, on your relevance, and on the quality of your output. Now let's put it all together. Your optimal future state is a vision that you write out in detail and experience twice a day in order to provide proof to your subconscious mind, not only that you can make it happen, but you have already made it reality. Then, on a daily basis, you reinforce this truth. Tasks are the building blocks of projects that become your catalog. Along the way, you reach milestones for which you reward yourself with incentives. Some of the milestones are dependent on other people's input and reactions, usually in the form of attention and compensation. You resolve the dependencies using the skills of influence and persuasion. As you consciously move through time and complete projects and reach milestones and become expert at resolving dependencies, your subconscious mind is already convinced that you're there. This momentum brings the date of your optimal future state forward through time until the inevitable and fulfilling collision occurs and you wake up physically in the space you have mentally occupied for years. So what do you think? Does the vision collision not kick King Kong butt over New Year's so-called resolutions? Late bloomers, we don't have time to mess around. What we do have time for is taking the God-given gifts of imagination and determination and bringing them together head on to fulfill our highest potential and the mission and assignment we've been given in this life. And we should not stop one step short of that. If you'd like something to print out or just look at on your computer to remind you of the steps of the vision collision process, I've created a PDF you can download in the description of this video. Until next time, everyone, it's never too late.